Are you hoping to have some incredible golf games this summer? Well, I have some great tips for you. If you find yourself on the course and you haven't really warmed up, I want you to try to remember a couple of these things I give you today. I'm Denise Beatty. I'm an exercise physiologist and the owner of the Fitness Fix. First of all, we want to have really mobile ankles so that your knees and your hips don't get too tight, especially as you're bending down. So have one foot down, your toes are just pressing into the ground. Really big circles where you can try to contract all those muscles around the feet and the ankles, and then try to the other direction as well. You're trying to really hit all directions that you can. Great, and then the other side, toes down. Sometimes you don't realize how sticky your ankles are and how restrictive they can be, especially if you consider how much you'll be walking, right? Good, and then now for hands, to optimize your grip strength, we're gonna wake up the ulnar nerve. So you're gonna supinate your hands and bring them in really tight. So you're gonna feel your pinkies towards you. See if you can get those biceps working a bit. You can even move your elbows up and down a little bit in different directions. And just be aware if you can feel both sides of your arms working. This last part of this is you're gonna turn your hands out, flexing the hands back. Your pinky and ring finger are flexing back towards you all the time. Move your arms out to the side and bring them in nice and tight and back out. So just a couple of quick drills there. Now just for your hand responsiveness, you're gonna keep your wrist really lined up, don't move it backwards, and see if you can make tight fists up and down, just get those hands really working. Right on. Now to get our chest and shoulders warmed up, you're gonna grab on top of the golf club, have your hands on top. This first one, because we're pulling the hands apart, we're working the back of our shoulders more. So you're gonna lift the chest, shoulders float up and back a little bit and pull outwards. So I'm really working the outside of my shoulders as I pull across my body, holding those abs in, pull right across, watch that the wrists are aligned. Now you're gonna push your hands inwards. So now you can feel how it's a bit more chest as you pull across. If my hands were slippery, they'd pull right together. Find the center and reach all the way overhead. Reach up as high as you can and all the way down. I'm still pulling inwards. Excellent. And then we're gonna do a couple with the hands turned up to the ceiling, pulling outwards, just a couple of reps. Trying to stay supinated. It's like you really open up those wrists and shoulders. Find the center, and now you're gonna push outwards the whole time. So you could push outwards for the outside of the shoulders, pull inwards for the chest. Good, find that center, and reaching all the way up and down. And this one you can do one rep where you're pushing out, as if my hands would slide outwards, one or two, and then pulling the hands in towards each other. You can feel how it just changes it a little bit. As soon as you have that pressure, pushing outwards or pulling inwards, it just wakes things up. Now we're gonna make sure your back's really working, because if your back's not really stable, it's amazing how much we don't work our hip flexors, we can't get into the hips as much. So you're gonna bring the bar up or the golf club up behind you, just however it feels comfortable. You don't even have to do this part if it feels too uncomfortable for you. Arch the back, hike up the right hip and over to the right side. A few breaths here. And then back to the center, hike up the left hip and over. Good, and then now what we're gonna do is keep the chest and shoulders back. If this doesn't feel great, cross your arms across your chest. Get down into a squat, and you're gonna turn like you're spinning around a post and squat down really deep, squeeze the glutes, and press back up, and squat down deep again. Staying rotated, but I'm still centered. Back to the center, turn the other way, and we're down, and press back up, and one more. And back to the center. Excellent. One more for our hips, just to really secure them. I really like you to focus on this hip rotation where you can get into each hip, because then that back can stay quite neutral. So on this one, I like to push the hip out to the back corner like you're sitting in a box, and you can just go up and down a few times, or you can even hinge back into a cross behind lunge and up, push the hip back, get down nice and deep. Same thing on the other side. Even 2 reps is huge. Push back and you're like, oh, I feel that connection there. Down deep and press back up. Same thing into that hip. Now you're gonna have this great rotation power all the way up the chain. I hope you enjoyed this quick little warm up and that you have an incredible golfing season.